Just a quick warning, this video is about the Fleet of Worlds itself, and not the novel Fleet of Worlds. I will be getting into that novel eventually, but that's not this video. Long ago, the Puppeteers began to run out of room on their planet, Hearth. They had conquered Hearth, and their population exploded. They were very intelligent, and so they built air scrubbers and skyscrapers, or arcologies rather, that would dwarf the tallest building in New York or Dubai, some over a mile high, but their population continued to grow. They didn't have enough land to grow enough food to feed them all. They knew that the best solution would be to colonize a second planet, but they all had a phobia of space travel. They tried to force some of their population to emigrate, but that left most in a catatonic state. It would be more humane just to kill them. But puppeteers are herbivorous herd animals, so they couldn't even contemplate that thought. Another solution must be found. Out of desperation, they met with the outsiders. They bought information off of them, the solution to their problem. But the outsiders sold the answer for a steep price, and the solution itself would put their entire species into debt to outsiders for generations. From the outsiders, they bought a planetary drive, a device too complex for even the advanced puppeteers to understand. This drive allowed them to move another planet from their solar system into the habitable zone of their star, where they terraformed it to be a farm world. An entire world of farms just to feed Hearth. But still their population grew. They bought a second planetary drive and used it to bring a second farm world into the habitable zone, and they terraformed that as well. But now a new problem was emerging. Their waste heat was heating up Hearth too much. They couldn't deal with it, so they bought a third planetary drive, and this time used it on their own homeworld. To move Hearth further away from its star to reduce the heat taken in by it. But the problems kept coming, and after they got a third farm world, their star began to show signs of instability. It was entering the final stages of its life before it would expand and eventually go supernova. So the puppeteers decided to move about 1/10 of a light year away. But still, the population grew, and a fourth farm world was needed. They found a suitable planet in a different solar system and bought a fifth planetary drive. They began to move the final planet into their fleet. This is when the puppeteers met a new species. They discovered a very low-tech spaceship near where the intercept of the fifth world was to happen. They sent automated defense robots that killed all the alien crew on board. But upon further inspection, they discovered a surprise. The crew on board was just a small part. The majority of the ship was full of hibernating aliens. Now there was a question of what to do with them. But that's another story. Right now we are talking about the Fleet of Worlds itself. For a while, they kept their 5 planets at a distance of about 1/10 of a light year from their star until it expanded into a red giant. And then they moved further away. They took their homeworld and 4 farm worlds into interstellar space, and they became the Fleet of Worlds. Their home planet was now their spaceship, and their farm worlds its armada. They continued to accelerate in one direction until they are currently going at around 80% of the speed of light. But where they are going exactly is debatable. They tricked Beowulf Schaefer into discovering the core explosion, then lied and said they would have to escape the galaxy. But the planetary drives they bought from the outsiders seemed to deal with the radiation just fine. Seeing as at 80% of the speed of light, everything, even just interstellar dust, was already a much harder form of radiation than anything the core explosion would produce. So once he figured this out, Louis Wu assumed that the puppeteers must be going in the exact opposite direction as they claim. If they already have a way to deal with hard radiation, then they would most likely go towards the core explosion, to where space has been safely sterilized for them. No dangerous neighbors like humans, Pac, and Kazinti. But that's just an assumption. The puppeteers use a fleet of small artificial suns to light their farm worlds so that the crops can grow. But on their capital, they have only the streetlights. The entire surface of their planet is towering arcologies and city, so there's no need for any more light than that. There are approximately 1 trillion puppeteers on Hearth, and they use stepping plates or stepping discs to travel. These are basically teleporters, where if you step on the plate, you will be instantly teleported to a predetermined destination plate. And if you step on that plate, you will be returned to where you started. There were 4 of these at every street intersection, 1 for each direction. This made it so that with only a short walk, you could travel halfway across the planet, every 2 or 3 steps taking you the distance of a puppeteer block, or the thickness of one of their massive arcologies in this case. The timeline for when exactly everything happened for the puppeteers is unclear, but one date we do have. The puppeteers were already moving their 5th world into the rosette when we were just leaving the solar system for the first time. When we were just learning how to build interstellar engines, they had already taken entire planets into interstellar space. Hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you staying this long, and since you did, hopefully that means you like my channel. So I'd really appreciate it if you would like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe, so I can see you back here for the next one. Take care.